But you have to, I'm sure you'll agree that Beaconhouse is a large system and a large organization. And the only way for a large organization to really manage is with systems. So when we talk of the, what some people see as a somewhat prescriptive curriculum, or we talk of other policies which you may or may not agree with, I hope that you will appreciate that without policies and structures, it's absolutely impossible to govern an organization with 10,000 employees and teachers in 9 countries and 193,000 students. So, but, we do at the same time realize that being as large as we are perhaps limits our flexibility and agility. And those are things which we're very conscious of. Mrs. Huck and I speak about it quite frequently. And I hope that this conference will serve as an impetus to start working on the areas, and I'm not going to repeat what those areas are. They're the things that Mrs. Huck highlighted in her presentation, including the piloting of a curriculum in which perhaps just the attainment targets are identified or agreed upon, and how you get there is something that you decide. So I think that will be a very interesting experience. I think we can also learn from the work that we've done at TNS over the last 3 years, because there are some things which have been very successful and other things which have been a little bit more challenging. So I look forward to seeing a greater level of collaboration between Beaconhouse and TNS in the future. I was eavesdropping on a very interesting discussion in one of the workshops, and I overheard a very interesting comment from a lady whose name I, of course, don't remember. And she said that, well, we have Master Ayub on one hand, and we have TNS on the other hand. And how do you bridge that gap? Now, I don't know how you bridge that gap. The work that Master Ayub is doing without, the resources that are available to forget TNS, even at Beaconhouse, it's just remarkable. And I wish him all the success, and I hope that we have many more Master Ayubs, who come up in this country, particularly after the devastation, that we've witnessed over the last few months. But I think that as far as education is concerned, education is always going to operate at all levels. About 3 weeks ago, we had a press conference in which, to announce this particular event. And a number of, members of the press were very aggressive, and they almost sort of attacked us and said that, well, there should be one education system in the country, and there should be one standard. And, the fact of the matter is that, yes, I believe that all schools should offer, a minimum standard of education, whether they are schools in the public sector or in the private sector. But the unfortunate reality is, and this is whether we are in Pakistan, the United States, India, anywhere, I'm sorry, there can be no one standard or one type of education, because I think it's reflective of what we are as people or as a society. We're not all robots. Everybody is their own individuals. Everybody has gone to a different type of school, educational institution. Even within Pakistan, I mean, if I may give you a very extreme example, I mean, look at for instance, the number of madrasas that we have operating in this country. Do you think that if, we were to go and say that, well, shut them all down because we are deciding that there should be one level of, one standard of education, it's not possible. So I strongly believe that there is a need and there is a market for every level and every type of school offering every type of curriculum, whether it is a school like TNS, whether it is, the amazing work that Master Ayub is doing, perhaps without even desks and chairs. Well, actually, without desks and chairs, if the CNN video, which, is to be believed, which I'm sure it is. and the large number of schools that fall in between. Anyway, I'm digressing, but I think that it's now time for me to wrap up, but I cannot do that, unfortunately, without thanking a few people, because organizing this conference has been quite a Herculean task. In fact, even to say that it's a Herculean task is a bit of an understatement, because we've practically, a large number of people have been working round the clock for days, and then for months before that. And I think that I'd just like to acknowledge their contribution. And this is, of course, not in order of, the quantity or the magnitude of the contribution, and number one, and number two, I'm sure I will end up leaving out some people, so please, forgive me for that. So I want to start off with Mr. Shahid Bhatt and the admin department. They've done a tremendous amount of work, especially before the conference, negotiating everything, putting everything in place. Aslam Sharif and the IT department, thank you very much. Some of you may know that the conference is being streamed worldwide. My sister-in-law in Michigan has seen almost every session, and I'm sure so have a lot of other people, but I was quite amazed that not only did she see most sessions while it was waking hours, but she said that every single word was audible and it was like television quality. So thank you to the IT department for that and for everything else. The Braze and the corporate communications department, especially the designers. These guys have done pretty much everything that you see around you, from the design of the stage to this, LED screen, and along with the IT department, all the logos, the materials, the name tags that we're all wearing, the conference, the binders, invitation cards, souvenirs, everything. The list goes on and on. So thank you, Tabriz, and your extremely talented team of designers. And I know it's been a very, very stressful job for them. I'd also like to thank Mrs. Naveen Bhatt and the Conference Coordination Committee. Mrs. Bhatt has worked round the clock, has worked miracles. The stage that I'm standing on was meant to be a wedding stage. Somebody was supposed to get married over here. Mrs. Bhatt convinced them not to get married over here. Truthfully, she did. And to get married in a different hall. So thank you, Mrs. Bhatt, for everything that you've done. You guys must have noticed that the rooms in which the workshops, at least 16 of the workshops were held yesterday, were different. And the rooms in which they were held today, the hall was different. And as you know, we constructed those rooms. But unfortunately, the hotel could not give us the same hall for 2 days running. So Mrs. Bhatt and her team and a lot of the support staff, whose names unfortunately I don't know offhand, were up all night making sure that after the evening events of the hotel were over, we quickly took possession of the room that they were moving us to and reconstructed everything. So thank you very much for everything that you've done. Thank you. Temina Naeem, and who's heading the Hospitality and Reception Committee. Thank you, Temina, and the other members of the Hospitality and Reception Committee. All the speakers that I've met have been, they've only had words of appreciation for the way in which you guys have handled their, reception as well as check-in to the hotel and everything else. Mrs. Shahid, Rifat Shahid, and the Gala Dinner Committee. I think you were all there last night. Most of you were there last night, and I think it was a truly magical evening. So thank you, Mrs. Shahid, for everything that you did to make that possible. Colonel Shahid and the Transport and Security Committee, thank you very much. You've managed to keep us safe so far, and I hope that it will stay that way. Otherwise, the speakers who I'm hoping will return to Pakistan probably may not, for different reasons. So thank you very much. We appreciate everything that you've done, getting people to Bedia and back and everywhere else. Afsa Babar, who's coordinated with all the speakers. Thank you, Afsa. Where are you? Afsa's done amazing work. Afsa is also the one who found, I think, each and every one of you almost, apart from maybe a couple of you who were part of the 2005 conference. I think Afsa is also responsible for finding us our keynote speaker. So I think she's just done amazing, amazing work. Thank you. Thank you, Oscar type of speech would not be complete without thanking Mrs. Haq, Mrs. Ahmed, and the rest of the academics department, because they've just completely outdone themselves. I mean, the thought that went into planning this conference, the 4 streams, the 4 main areas which are basically an outcome of areas that Beaconhouse and the academics department have been debating for the last, 20 years. And the way in which we came up with the 4 strands, the plenary sessions, the 23 workshops, the topics for the workshops, the follow-through, all of this would not have been possible without the academics department. But I think their real challenge now lies ahead. It's to make sure that we actually get some of these things to their logical conclusion. Thank you, Mrs. Haq, for your vision and for your support. And I look forward to working with you in making it happen. Thank you. There are so many other people who need to be thanked. There's the management of the Pearl Continental, who have cooperated tremendously with us, because we've had 500 people staying at the PC over the last few days. There's JNS Events, who helped us with the gala dinner. There's Kashif and Michelle, who helped with the Sufi night. The student ushers, I think a word of big applause goes to them. I think where are you? Every speaker that I've met has commented on the students, on how you guys have guided them. You've had a smiling face throughout. You've waited for everyone to finish eating lunch, only to have the leftovers. Thank you very, very much for everything, and I hope that we can make you a part of stuff that you do that we do in the future. I know for sure that this conference has given us the confidence to, actively engage with you guys in the future. Thank you very much. Last but not least, the delegates, which is all of you. Because if you had not been here, this conference would not have been possible. So anyway, since Richard Gerber has already won the award for Best Actor, I think I will... Thank you, Richard. Where are you? I think I'll conclude my Oscar speech and accept the award for Best Producer. So thank you very much. Thank you. And please join us for a cup of tea. Or Kiran, would you like to announce that?